Hey everybody. So another story that I experienced is a mermaid in Key West. Let me just check my mic. Yeah, we're still good. Mermaid in Key West. Um, I was in the Keys. I was staying in a house that a friend had let me stay in and experiencing a lot of water beings. And they had kind of recommended I go down this road for a walk. And there was this intuitive thing for me that when I looked at the map, I knew I had to go to this bay. And so I went for this walk down this road and got to the area of the bay, and I looked out there and I was like, oh, I'm not walking into that bay. It was one of those bays. It was crystal clear water, but there were like those mangrovey things all over the place. I think they're called mangrove trees. I don't know exactly, but the trees in Key West that are in the oceans and are rooted. But the thing is, the trees can die and like their roots stay there and they're poking up everywhere, and it's hard to walk through sharp, with all this hard wood sticking out and everything. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going in there. And my guides go in there, trust us, you're gonna see something. And I'm like, okay. So I take my shoes off, put them to the side. There's nothing there. When I take my shoes off, I put them down, and I think I found a stick, and I kind of like walk in to the ocean. And this wasn't sandy ocean, like I said. This was rocky ocean, shells, and mangrovey things poking out everywhere, little ones and big ones. But I walk into the bay, and I follow this path. And uh, as I'm following this path, I hear, "Don't go that way, go that way." And so I turn the path and start walking, and there's an enormous horseshoe crab. Um, I've always seen them washed up on shore. I've never seen one alive. I walked right into the bay and was guided right to this horseshoe crab living that was out there. And I watched it for a while. It even let me reach in and like pet it and that sort of thing. Very docile, very cool creature. So I watched it for a while, and then they said walk farther. So I walked further into the bay. Now I'm gritting light as I did this. Part of the reason I was doing this work in the Keys was to grid light and bring more light energy to some of these ocean spaces. And so they're having me grid light along this path. And when I say that is, they download the path into my mind, and I can see it almost like an overlay. Like, if you put directions into Google Maps and it overlays the land. It's kind of like that, but it's right in front of me. Here's the line, here's the path, type of thing. And so I know based on my guides where to go, and they have me go those places for a reason when that happens. And so an ET will say, hey, we need you to go here, whether it's to meet a person, see an animal, experience something. They'll download the path so I can get right to that point. And so I go out there, and I don't remember if anything happened while I was out there offhand, but I do have some original videos on my YouTube and Instagram about the experience right after. But I remember turning around and going, okay, I'm gonna go head back in. I head back in, and I kind of lose my path because they had taken me on an easy path. And I go, okay, there's the easy. I figure out an easy path. I go, I'm gonna go that way. And they go, no, 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 turn and go that way. And I go the different way, and boom, there's the horseshoe crab again. He had disappeared when I decided to leave, and then I found him. They guided me straight to him again, and they go follow him. And the horseshoe crab, no joke, literally shifts and starts heading to shore, creating this little dust path as it eats going to shore. So I follow it, and I head off, and at some point I veer off and head straight to shore because the crab wasn't obviously going to go all the way in. And I'm only, I don't know, 30 feet from shore or something, and I feel this urge to look up, and I'm thinking about something. I forget what I'm thinking about, but I look up, and there's this shadow thing on shore that jumps into the water, and speeds past me faster than any fish I've ever seen. First of all, a fish, if it was scared, isn't going to jump up out of the water, jump in, swim, and then come around and swim right beside me. It went right by my leg within like an inch or two, just right beside me, and went out to sea. And I'm like, what the heck was that? Now, when it jumped, it almost looked like a little mer person jumping, and they were only a foot, maybe foot and a half tall. So at first I thought, well, maybe that was a fish. And then I'm like, no, it like came from the shore. It jumped into the water. And then when it jumped into the water, it kept jumping before it got to me. It was like, but it was going so fast, faster than anything I've seen, and didn't go out. It had multiple directions to go out. If it was a fish, it would have never, fish scared by me, it never would have come to me, would have gone out. It came right to me and went right past my leg, made sure I knew it was there. And I go, wow, that was crazy. And I'm walking up onto land and I'm sitting there and I go, okay, well, what was it? And trying to figure this out. And then I keep hearing mermaid, 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 or sorry, mer person, mer person, mer person. They weren't a mermaid, they were a mer person. Sometimes I use the words interchangeably, they are different things. So, mer person, I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And I go up to shore and I look at my shoes. There's nothing there when I put my shoes down. Absolutely nothing. There's a crab claw right beside my shoes. And I'm like, huh. And I hear gift for you. And I had been getting crab claws as gifts the entire trip. Now, there are a lot of crab parts and pieces along the shoreline, but I'm talking like, you know, the ocean being like, here comes something and a crab claw comes in, or this is for here, this is for you, and you turn and you look and there's a crab claw sitting there. Or in the case of my shoes, having put them down, there being nothing there, and all of a sudden there's a crab claw beside my shoes after the mer person jumps in and goes off. And it was an appreciation of me doing light work and gridding. Now I don't remember the name or and all of that, the information she gave me. It was a feminine, and I had drawn her. I believe I even did a channel on my blog that if I can find it, I'll repost it. But she called herself a mer person. She was from out in the bay, and they had been watching. And I physically saw her. It wasn't energetic. It wasn't third eye. It was physical. It wasn't peripheral eye. It was like I looked up. She was standing there, maybe this tall, and off she went. The world is changing and shifting, and more people are going to see these beings. And one of the messages that she had was to remember that just because we call them mer people, mermaids, or whatever, doesn't mean they're the size of humans. Some of them are very small, some of them are the size of humans, and some of them are much larger. There are different sizes of beings, and that doesn't mean they're all the same. We call a lot of these beings mermaids, but they're different beings from different places. They might look similar, just like humans across the world will look similar, but somebody who is Chinese is vastly different from somebody who is South African, who is Egyptian, who is Indian, who is German. They're all different. They look similar. They're all still human, but they're all different in their appearance and in their culture, in their beliefs, in the ways they do things. To remember that just the size is a perception we have, and that we will see beings large and small, and that there are many different cultures in that sort of thing. So that was one of my experiences with a mer person, and I hope that helps some of you out there. That was down in the Keys. Much love to you. Grateful for each and every one of you.